Well, it's Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I know that awful day for a lot of people. I hope it went well for everybody, but if it didn't, don't worry, because hopefully today's episode will cheer you up, because what's not to like, right? Me just reacting to some insane stories on the internet, and today, boy, do we have some insane stories to talk about that will simply make you ask the question, what is going on? Like me every day. Now, seriously, what is going on though? Like, it's kind of concerning me just a tiny bit. But firstly, we have to talk about Will Smith's new response to Jada Pinkett Smith's shocking revelations as she's releasing a new book. And after you've seen his response, your first thought will be, this man needs a lot of help. Then we'll be talking about somebody who definitely needs a lot of help, and that is an understatement, after a woke TikToker sat in a car for 2.5 minutes screaming, shouting and crying after they were misgendered at work. Yeah, it's one of the biggest meltdowns you will see, and that will directly link into our next story, because apparently underneath a Labour government, if you deliberately misgender somebody, you could face jail time of up to 2 years. I'll see you all there. And our last story is all about the Arsenal women's football team, after recently they've had their squad photo taken, and a lot of people on the internet aren't too happy because the team is apparently too white. Yeah, it's a great time, right? It's a great world. Now, before we carry on with this video, if you could, make sure to leave a like rating, as it really helps out the video. If you're new, we're on the road to 60k, so hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications, comment down below, share this video. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, let's all sit back, try to relax, and let's get into this one. So I do think it's only right, ladies and gentlemen, we begin this whole video with sending our thoughts and prayers. You know, I think this is very nice of me. We should send our thoughts and prayers to Will Smith, because he has definitely found himself in a terrible situation that I wouldn't wish on any man. If you've been paying attention to the news recently, you'll all know Jada Pinkett Smith has just revealed that her and Will Smith have actually been separated since 2016. Add that to the long list of humiliations Will Smith has faced. But it does make you think, right? So they haven't been together since 2016, yet after Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Smith, Will Smith walked up on stage, slapped him in the face, screamed at him, swore everywhere for a woman he tried to defend who doesn't love him, doesn't care about him, humiliates him at every chance she gets, and they're not together.
Even to a guy like me, that's cold.
Boy, what a downfall the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is having. You know, I can't watch I Am Legend the same any longer, but Will Smith has responded to these revelations in an email, and yeah, it's not great. Will Smith has broken his silence about the bombshells dropped by his estranged wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, about their 25-year marriage. The Men in Black star 55 sent the New York Times an email saying the revelations kind of woke him up, adding that Pinkett Smith, 52, was more resilient, clever, and compassionate than he understood. I'm sorry. When you've been with someone for more than half of your life, a sort of emotional blindness sets in, Smith wrote according to the Times article published Saturday, and you can all too easily lose your sensitivity to their hidden nuances and subtle beauties. No, I do think he's right, okay, because there is a lot of, well, compassion, mental resilience, beauty in creating a book and revealing loads of stuff, revealing to the world you haven't been together for years and Tupac is her soulmate. Oh man. This man has risked everything, his public image, some say his career, for a woman that just doesn't care about him and never will. I just don't understand what Will Smith is doing. If anybody can tell me the thought process behind this, I would love to know, because the way she has acted all over these years, the way she has treated him, would make any other man just run away. So newsflash to all men, I'm pretty sure I did this in my last video, but I have to do it again because this is serious. To all men right now, if you find yourself dating a woman who resembles any of the behavior demonstrated by Jada Smith, please, for me, run as fast as you can. I don't know what dirt she's got on Will Smith. I don't know what Will Smith sees in this woman. I said last time, you know, maybe, just maybe, he wakes up every day hoping something will change. But after she's made a book revealing all of this stuff and literally says Tupac was my soulmate, nah, nothing's changing there, buddy. Nothing at all. Either way, good luck, Will Smith. I think in years to come, when you look back on this situation, you will ask yourself the question, where did it all go wrong and why did I stay in this for so long? I hope he finds out the answers to that, because we're all dying to know as well. On to the next one. But as we know, ladies and gentlemen, in today's world, apart from not knowing when to leave a terrible situation, we also live in a time where everybody overshares everything, especially on TikTok. We see all the time people sat there crying over something that really 90% of the time isn't worth crying over. I think we can all agree on that one. Just like when people sit there and they cry over getting misgendered, they have to tell the world what happened, right? They can't wait to find some spare time where they can sit anywhere, stand there crying, screaming, shouting over a situation that really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, just like this individual here.
I tried calling friends, nobody's picking up, so I just am gonna dump this here. It's the middle of the day, I completely understand, but I just had a really harrowing experience at work. I have this one coworker who simply refuses to use the correct pronouns for me. I've called her out every time she misgenders me, and she just is resigned to not change. And today just broke something in me. I just snapped. I ended up yelling at her after the third time she misgendered me, and within like 30 minutes, like, I use they, them pronouns. And she got so defensive. And I just started explaining to her, like, I'm sick and tired of this. Like, you need to at least make an attempt. And she popped off, got upset, got defensive. What are you gonna do about it? And I just said, I'm gonna be really hurt and sad. Like, that's all I can do about it. And the worst part is that at that point, my boss, who claims to be so woke and like happy and joyous and making a safe, positive environment for everybody, gangs up on me with her and says, like, this is, Carson, like, shut up, this is not the time for a political statement. And I was upset, rightfully so, but was trying to take such a level-headed approach to it of, like, this is not a political statement. My identity is not a political statement. It's just my identity. All I'm asking you to do is respect that. And it really is within our own community that people have the most rampant transphobia. The coworker that refuses to use the correct pronouns for me claims to be bisexual, and she stands up and goes, when I came out as bisexual, everybody was mad at me. It's like, then why are you mad at the trans kid? Like, what? You want to inflict that same pain onto me? Why? It's so frustrating, because then my boss spins it around as like I'm the one who's making a scene and is being like over emotional or oversensitive. And it's like, all I am asking is for you to make an attempt to try and respect my gender identity. And they're both just going at me like, this is not the time. We're trying our best. You should be compassionate and understanding. You should just accept it with love and move on. Like, it's so frustrating. I literally was shaking so hard. I just got up and left. I came to the beach. I didn't know what else to do. I was so mad. But this is just so hard. It's so hard to be out and be vocal about it. It's so hard to stand up for yourself, because either you are a doormat or you're the that like is over emotional.
You know, when I see these videos, ladies and gentlemen, not only do I have to keep buying violins because all the time I'm sat here going like this, but it just shows me that gender ideology confuses people. This is the result of gender ideology right now. These people are told to adopt certain ways of life, and they've been installed with the thought process that who they think they are is who they are, right? The individual truth is the truth, and if anybody doesn't conform to their worldview, then they can react in any way, shape or form, and it's completely justified. We live in a victimhood society, right? We've wrapped the word up in cotton wool, and people reacting like this to a lot of people is the right thing to do, because how dare they not agree with you? How dare people not partake in the way you want them to? I don't understand how people upload these videos. I don't, because you have to sit there, right? Record the video, cry, possibly edit it, and then upload it, and nowhere throughout that process it clicked within their minds. You know, they don't think maybe this is just a little bit embarrassing. They never do any self-reflection. They don't sit there and think either, you know, why does this person not agree with me? Wait, hold on, it's actually okay for people to not agree with me. Even though I think I'm XYZ, not everybody has to conform and participate in how I feel. I understand that that's never the case. It's always tunnel vision, one world view. It also shows me, and it's a big sign of how comfortable we are as a society right now, because in all the places out there that are going through terrible situations right now, they don't have time to think about pronouns and XYZ. All they think about is surviving for the next day. This is our sign of oppression in the West. Misgendering. Again, you know, if these people at work don't call you what you want to be called, they're allowed to do that. You can't force someone to do that. As much as you want to try and force them to do that, you can't. And this directly links into our next story, where underneath a Labour government, apparently according to the Mail, they might try and force people to conform to this worldview by using the law. Yes, apparently, if you deliberately call someone the wrong gender or use the wrong pronouns, that might land you in jail for 2 years underneath a Labour government. Vowing to toughen up the sentencing guidelines for abuse and violence targeted at trans people, Labour would make attacks motivated by hatred of the victim's gender identity into aggravated offences. This would bring transphobic abuse into line with assault and harassment motivated by hatred on the grounds of race or religion, which are punishable by up to 2 years in prison. Critics warn that the policy could therefore mean jail sentences for someone refusing to use a transgender person's preferred pronouns or referring to them by their former name or their birth sex rather than their chosen gender. Last night, a senior Tory source said some police forces have shown themselves overzealous in the pursuit of supposed hate crimes, and this reform would send them a signal to go even further. We've seen people arrested for misgendering, but this isn't enough for Labour. They want them locked up for 2 years. So first of all, what I want to say in response to that article is, if this actually ever ends up happening, I'll race you there. But could I actually see this happening in the future, sometime in the future, somehow, some way? You know, absolutely. Firstly, because it's Labour. Secondly, because there are people out there who think, well, if I can't get people to conform to my worldview, even though I sit in the car, as we saw, and I cry and I scream and they still can't conform to my worldview, they don't think how I think, even though we get very angry and very emotional, well then let's use the one thing we can use to make people conform: the law. And as we know, if we think long term right now, society is becoming more and more liberal. So you think about all these liberal students, and trust me, university students in this country, liberal as they can be sometimes, and they're going to be in the workforce. Some of them will want to go into politics, into high positions, XYZ. So of course they'll be sat there thinking, well, if we're going to see misgendering keep on going on, people will have to be arrested for it. You can just see it. You really can. The one issue I have is, though, our prisons right now are legitimately full, so much so they actually have to release people early or not even convict people, send them to prison in the very first place. So I don't know where we'd all go. That's going to be interesting to see, but I can guarantee you right now, when I'm in there for the 2 years, I will be the stand-up comedian 24/7 to make that time go a little bit faster. I look forward to it. I really do. Our last and final story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, and it doesn't really get any better if I'm going to be honest. The Arsenal women's football team, as most of you know, I am an Arsenal fan. If you follow me on Instagram, you definitely know I'm an Arsenal fan. If you don't follow me, hit that link that is in the description. But the Arsenal women's team right now is catching a lot of heat after they posted their squad photo and it's being branded too white. It's not diverse enough. This is absolutely outrageous, right? A race row has broken out over Arsenal women's squad photo for the 2023-24 season, with many fans furious that it does not feature a single player of colour. In a post shared by Arsenal on Friday, which has now been viewed more than 2 million times, 27 players and manager Jada Pinkett, I hope I got that name right, it's pretty bad that I'm saying that because I am an Arsenal fan, don't tell anyone, can be seen being photographed ahead of the Women's Super League season, which started on October 1st. Unimpressed Arsenal fans took to X, formerly Twitter, to criticise the lack of diversity and players of colour in the latest squad. One user wrote, "No professional team, men's or women's, should be able to have a team that compromises of all white players in 2023. Yeah, that sounds a bit racist to me, I'm not gonna lie, Wait, is that the police coming? Is it because I misgendered somebody? I'm terribly sorry. Yeah, that sounds a bit racist to me. Another wrote, "Lovely picture and that, but God, it's so concerning that one of the biggest clubs in London doesn't have a single person of colour in the squad." The third said, "You mean to tell me Arsenal stakeholders and the executives see this and think this is okay? The head coaches think this is okay? The players look at each other and think this is okay? All white? Please, at Arsenal Women's Football Club, at Arsenal, there needs to be an emergency meeting and change." Oh boy. I mean, do you have... I'm struggling not to laugh, I really am. I mean, do you have nothing else to worry about? Seriously, again, this just points to how uncomfortable we are in society right now. We don't pick players based on their skin. Well, I don't pick the players, but the teams don't pick the players based on the colour of their skin. They pick them based on their skill. How good are they at the sport, and their accomplishments. And because sport, just like many other walks of life, is a results-based industry, if people put diversity at the forefront of employing somebody and not actually looking at the skill and how good they are at said job, then results will go downwards. And I don't want to see that as an Arsenal fan, and I don't think any football fan wants to see that either, just because people are putting diversity at the top of the list. You should be picking the best players, not picking people based on merit. That is very controversial to say, right? That is, especially in this country now, apparently you can't say the obvious. You know, nobody cares about the color of somebody's skin. They really don't. You know, that's not what people think about when they're watching sport. I mean, does anybody say anything about the NBA? Oh, I just can't believe, you know, there's no white person in the squad here. It's a travesty. It really, no, nobody cares. You know, these people just like to moan at whatever they simply can. They're not happy in their lives. They see something that goes against what they think, and that's it. The world must stop spinning, or you start crying in your car. These people. But diversity means more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, even when you're picking the best players for your team. You simply can't pick the best players anymore. Wow. But leave your thoughts down below on all these stories today, ladies and gentlemen. I tried to cover them as briefly and as quickly as I could, because sometimes with these stories, you know, to sit down and talk about one more than the other can be pretty long-winded. Let me know how you like this sort of format. I always like to see how you guys prefer the content, either if it's longer or shorter. It would be great for me to know. Leave a like rating if you have enjoyed today's video. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications, share this video. But until next time, that has been your boy JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.